Chad Kuntz, my wife Holly, my great-great-grandpa started farming in the early 1900s. I'm the 5th generation. The new pivot went in spring of 19 as part of the EQIP program. Second year, turned 4 fields into 1.
We cover quite a few acres, roughly 1,000 acres of beets, 600 acres of corn, plus or minus, 400 acres of barley, malt barley, and a lot of spring wheat, dry land and irrigated.
This farm here, particularly this field, has a lot of different soil structures. Low spots would get drowned out, or really sandy spots. We're flooding tubes and dams, no pipe.
Center pivots are a tool that have then allowed them to greatly reduce their tillage and implement other practices like precision agriculture and cover crops. It is an extremely efficient way to put on irrigation water.
We're an incorporated small family farm. I'm currently the oldest member of the corporation. We raise sugar beets, we raise malt barley, and we raise corn for silage. And currently we've started a cattle backgrounding operation in the winter. This is ground that was flood irrigated. One of the reasons that we started to look at a center pivot was we're always quite short of water in this area. Therefore, we have to look at ways to be able to produce a crop with less water. And the labor issue, you just can't find the help anymore. And as we all get older, we find we've got to change how we do things in order to keep doing it. And thus, we've arrived at center pivot.
When you look at what it takes to do traditional flood irrigation where we have flat ground with booster pumps, you spend half a day working on 3 booster pumps, getting them ready to go, where you can flush 1 pivot and have it going that day and irrigate 135 acres in 24 hours. It's just efficient. You can save a crop with it.
I was to the point to where with my back and my legs that I couldn't do all that irrigating anymore. So you've got 2 choices. We can either fold up and close up shop, I said, or we can put in some pivots. And thankfully with that cost share, we were able to see our way clear to make it work.
In the end, they end up paying 45%. We do save a lot on labor and tractor work, but when you get some share in it, it really makes it affordable.
The Regional Conservation Partnership Program, it's an opportunity for partners and NRCS to work together as a partnership and utilize some of our program dollars that we have available through the Environmental Quality Incentives Program and Conservation Stewardship Program, as well as our easement programs. We've got Molson Coors, we have Western Sugar, we have the Yellowstone Conservation Districts, the Bighorn Conservation District, Montana State University, Montana Bureau of Mines and Geology, the Carbon County Conservation District, the Beartooth RC&D as well. We've all worked together to come up with the Yellowstone Regional Ag Sustainability Program RCPP project.
About 6 years ago, we started meeting with some partners in the area, irrigation districts and growers and NRCS folks. We all kind of had a common goal to help our growers in the area produce our malt barley and sugar beets sustainably. Molson Coors was the lead partner for the group. The goal of the project was to bring some additional EQIP dollars to these counties to help growers like the Kuntzes put in irrigation systems to help conserve water as well as implement soil and water conservation practices. Molson Coors actually has a goal of reducing water use in our supply chain by 10% by 2025. NRCS has been a great partner working with the growers to implement these projects. The success of the company is based on the success of the growers.
We no-tilled some barley this year under the pivot. Going to be looking at planting some cover crop this fall.
The different root types is a big benefit for the soil, keeping cover on it as many months out of the year as you can.
This last spring, we had an interesting event where we had severely high winds for 3 consecutive days. All of our ground blew, and that's one of the goals with cover crops, is to keep something growing on that ground so that there's something there to hold that soil, so that if you get an event like that, you just don't have the erosion. The whole idea of the EQIP program, the way I understand it, is not only to help to produce or to acquire different technology, but it's also to help educate you and give you some first-hand experience with some guidance along the way.
It's in our best interest to conserve the land and water and resources.
I know for a fact we're going to use less water. I've seen that already over the long haul. It's going to be fantastic.